Well, I wrote this article in the Daily Skeptic about this, and I thought we'd do a little piece on it. It's about the escalating culture war and the Daily Wire and Jordan Peterson. So Jordan Peterson has joined the Daily Wire, and it's pretty epic, and they're going big, high production on it. So let's check out the video.
I mean, sure, Daily Wire Plus is going to have the Daily Wire, and sure, we're going to expand our relationship with PragerU, and sure, we're going to make more movies, and sure, we're going to make kids content. But I got one more plus. Here it is.
It's nice cinematography. Anyway, this goes on for quite a while, and then they give him a standing ovation for about 5 minutes.
That was bad.
It's nicely made, isn't it? Look at that. And listen, the crowd go absolutely mental in a minute, and it goes on for ages. They give him a standing ovation, and they're obviously very, very keen about it. And it's the reason I think it's important is, do you remember Scott Adams a while back with that 2 movies theory? Well, so Scott Adams, who created Dilbert, and we know he's a bit of a boomer and he's got some dodgy takes on the vaccine, but he had this thing that following Trump, due to Trump derangement syndrome, America had fractured into these 2 movies, 1 screen. So the same events being interpreted completely differently depending on which side of the fence you were on. Basically, the culture war. It wasn't a totally original observation, but it's a succinct way of putting it that we can see the same thing and have completely different views of what's just happened. That was, following post-Trump derangement syndrome. So my claim is that with Peterson now joining the Daily Wire, we're just going to see more and more of this escalation into, and with the Daily Wire's new content, they're going to have fiction movies, they're going to have documentaries like What is a Woman that went viral, they're going to have kids content. So my point is, more and more we're going to go into this world where it's 2 separate, completely separate cultures, even at the level of entertainment, even at the level of kids programs. And I just think this is the next stage in that escalation.
I mean, it's sort of like the people have posited the idea of a separation of like the states, but frankly, it's already happening on a social level. I mean,
Exactly.
It happened on the internet ages ago. You see people being off in their different camps, but
Yeah, and you've got mainstream articles about that separation. Now, there was one in the Times the other day from an obvious lefty professor. He's talking about, could America go into some sort of civil war? Could it break up? A lot of people are talking about this. But yes, it's already breaking up culturally. But on one level, it's just Peterson has just been getting more base. On one level, it's just that. Like, for some reason, he's been getting more and more base. I think it's because of the vaccine thing. I think it's because of the whole COVID thing. So he was ill during that time. He kind of missed it. He missed the creeping authoritarianism, having ironically dedicated his whole working life to that topic. And people were sort of saying to him, hey, Jordan, why are you missing this? He's like, I've been ill. And to be fair, he had. And then he got the vaccine, and then he felt cheated. And I think this is the moment Peterson becomes, he's already red-pilled in a way, isn't he? But this is when he goes the next level. His eyes go, bzzz, and I think this is when it happened in this clip.
Look, I got vaccinated, and people took me to task for that. And I thought, all right, I'll get the damn vaccine. Here's the deal, guys. I'll get the vaccine. You f***ing leave me alone.
Still love that. Angry Peterson. I mean, the left in the previous clip, they've been posting all these, thinking they're owning Peterson. Peterson posting his L's. He's like, I'd rather die than delete that. And they think they're winning. But Angry Peterson is fun.
no, but that's also just very based. It's like, I'd rather die than just tell lies. Like, okay.
Yeah. The left's like, integrity. They don't know what to do with integrity. They're like, they're melting. Yeah, exactly. So, but my claim about this is like, because in a way, Peterson has 2.8 million Twitter followers before he was banned. And they only have 1 million on the Daily Wire. So why would Peterson go to them? Because on one hand, yes, he's just becoming more base. On the other hand, such a mainstream figure who has such broad appeal. I mean, his advice includes cleaning your room and trying your best. You know, he's a very mainstream figure with nearly 3 million followers, but he's gone to the Daily Wire. So my claim is it's this kind of further ghettoization of the culture. You know, he's gone into the subscriber paywall ghetto. I mean, the Daily Wire, when I say a ghetto, it's a pretty nice ghetto with really well-mown lawns, no litter
Some
at
nice
all.
walls.
Yeah.
Nice big, beautiful walls.
Yeah. Nice wall, yeah. Build a wall, big, beautiful wall. And the kids come around very politely at Halloween and they leave if you have nothing. And it's all very nice. But it is still a ghetto in a sense. So I'm like, okay, this is where we're going. So it's much bigger than just Peterson because the Daily Wire is expanding and they've got this Daily Wire Plus, sorry to plug them, still watch Lotus Eaters, but they've got this Daily Wire Plus, and it's like, some people think it's taking the I don't know what we're allowed to say on YouTube, bleep out of CNN Plus, which shut down after just 1 month, which is hilarious. Some people say 30 days, some people say 33 days, but it's shut down completely. I don't know if that's why their name's at that. But what they're going to do is they're going to have documentaries like that. Did you see What is a Woman? That blew up.
Yeah, we
that
did a
blew
review
up.
on that.
Oh, cool. And then you've got the fiction films. You've got like Gina Carano in this Terror on the Prairie. And you've even got Vincent Gallo in Shut In. Are you familiar with Vincent Gallo?
I'm not familiar with him.
You have to be a bit of a geriatric millennial. You have to be a bit older than you. But Vincent Gallo was so cool back in the day. He had Buffalo 66 was his famous movie that he directed and starred in. And he actually invented the sort of conservative counterculture. Maybe not invented it, but he was in that before it really existed. And I found this old clip. I think it's from 2004. I thought we could play this and I'll show you what I mean.
The Republicans are portrayed as a bunch of mainstream white rednecks, religious fanatics, and evil corporate leaders. It's simply not true. I considered myself a radical always, but an extremely conservative radical.
No one knew if he was trolling. Like he used to say that he loved Richard Nixon. That's his favorite president. But he was this hipster-looking guy in Hollywood. So it's very interesting. I'm
getting like Sam Hyde vibes from this. Like, I don't know if he's playing me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how he always was. But you sort of go, actually, I think he's serious. There's another part of the clip where he does a passionate sort of monologue about this NFL star he wanted to be like. And actually, I think we should play a next clip because it's just hilarious.
My fantasy is not having the Republican Party become more like me. My fantasy is becoming more like the stereotype of the Republican Party. I wish that I looked more like George Will.
I love that. So this is, in a way, he was trolling before trolling was a thing. I mean, we should go back and watch his Howard Stern interview, still on YouTube. It is a work of art of just insulting and abusing the whole industry. And he was in Hollywood, but he was against Hollywood. And of course, there is a link. Obviously, these people know each other. Jeremy Boring was in Hollywood, but not, didn't fit in. And Ben Shapiro, and they had this, what was it called? I've forgotten the name of it, Truth something. Sorry, I've forgotten the name. But then they founded Daily Wire. So they, it might not be Truth, it's something like that. They come out of this Hollywood conservative movement. So it's just interesting that he's now on the Daily Wire, Vincent Gallo, in these movies. Anyway,
yeah. To be honest, I will say I'm actually very impressed with the Daily Wire in the sense of it is such a huge institution at this point. Like we're doing our own thing, like we're an office in Swindon, but the Daily Wire, like I'm told, the amount of like office space, employees, and what it is massive at this point.
Yeah, I've heard that. Apparently, it's very impressive if you go there. But I'd like to go. But that, by the way, that clip is from a movie which I'm trying to track down. It's called Rated R: Republicans in Hollywood from 2004. This is the old school counterculture of the weird thing of being in Hollywood but being a rebel. So anyway, a bit of a Gen X digression for you there for some of the kids. But so yeah, I think the most significant part of it is this Daily Wire Kids, which they've now launched, and this is significant because it's going to be children's programming. It's going to be conservative from the very start.
There's not going to be any drag queen pride parades in the middle of the Nickelodeon.
Exactly. And this they were going to do it anyway.
How conservative.
I know. It had to be. Well, that's it. And they saw all that, and they had it planned. And they realized when they saw the Disney leaked Zoom calls, they're like, we're going to have to do this sooner. And I'm sure Lotus Eaters fans were aware, but let's just have a look at that in case you forgot.
Roberts and like our leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all secret gay agenda. And so like I feel like I felt like it was, I mean, like maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess like something must have happened in the last like they were turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that like momentum that I felt, like that sense of I don't have to be afraid to like, let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background. Like I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to like. If you see anything queer in the show, I'm proud of them. But like I just was like, no one would stop me, and no one was trying to stop me.
No adults in the room. You'd just be like, stop just adding dildos to the background, love. If you could do that for 5 minutes in the kids show.
This is a kids show. Step away.
Why do you have an agenda?
Exactly. Step away from whatever you're working on. And of course, she was famously, that was LaToya Raveneau, whatever. Don't want to use her dead name. I think that's her live name. I don't know. I have no idea anymore. I don't know what. I'm sorry if it's they, them. That was they, and they is an executive producer at Disney, and they also said this famously.
I identify as like a biromantic asexual.
What? A biromantic asexual, Callum. Just process that.
So asexual means you're not into men or women, but biromantic means you're into both, surely?
I think I've broken Callum. Yeah, biromantic. Yeah, biromantic.
Does that just mean she wants to date men and women but not have sex with them?
Complicated, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. It's like biromantic is everyone or both.
I'll date you both.
Yeah.
But we're not getting like...
We're not, exactly.
You can do each other. I'm not doing...
Sounds like a time waster.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. And it reminded me of my tweet the other day, is while we were talking about asexuals, and not to promote myself, but this got 11.2 thousand likes.
It's a great tweet.
This person said, yes, I'm asexual. Yes, I marched in the Pride in London Parade. Yes, I did it dressed like this. Yes, ace is a part of the LGBTQI plus community. Stay mad because we're not going anywhere. And I just wrote, no one is mad that you're asexual. It's like building a movement around not liking cheese. And I thought it was a good point, but I didn't know it was going to get 11.2 thousand. I felt a bit bad. I got nothing against this person. And then my friend said...
No, but it's true, though. It's just like, what? You're not part of the Pride movement, then, surely. Like, you're part of the stay home and eat cheese movement if you're asexual. Like, you're not having sex.
Good point.
Like, so
and,
what...
and she doesn't say if she's biromantic, but it is bizarre, isn't it? It's like, I mean, I've given up on women. I'm not basing a movement around it. I mean, I could.
It's become a cop-out for incels, just like asexual, actually.
It's the MGTOW movement. It already
so
exists.
is she a femcell, actually, turns out.
Yeah, but she probably is. She's a femcell, but... I felt bad. My mate sent her response to me at 2 a.m. I was trying to sleep. He sent people like, oh, look at what this person said about you. But my policy is never look at anything anyone said about me. Even if I've slagged them off, I got 11,000 like, I didn't even read it. I'm like, don't want to know. It's probably not very nice. But good luck to her. Nothing against her personally. And good luck with not having sex with people.
And also your not eating cheese movement that I presume you'll also set up.
Yes, that's coming next. No more cheese. But it's fine if you want it. I just don't. And also Disney corporate president, Carrie Burke, in that same set of Zoom leaks, said this. Listen to her family.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually, one transgender child and one pansexual child.
What are the odds of that? You've raised a family. One of them's come out transgender, one pansexual. Does the phrase "I blame the parents" spring to mind? I mean, by the way, those are two things that don't exist. I don't want to get banned off YouTube or something, but a child can't really decide to be trans, and that's called child abuse. And there's
Children
no
aren't
such
sexual, so they can't be pansexual.
And there's no such thing as that anyway. So that's what's a pansexual? What's a pan-asexual? More importantly, I don't do anything with anyone across the whole spectrum. Yeah, so that's that. So that's the kind of people who are running Disney. And so my point is here, that Daily Wire have launched this quite significant kids brand, in my opinion, and that's what forced them to accelerate it and move it up. And they broke Ben Shapiro, as we see here.
Well, we announced yesterday that over the next 3 years, we would be investing $100 million here at the Daily Wire into making children's entertainment content. The reason being, I'm a parent. I have 3 kids, 8, 5, 2. And it used to be that I could turn on Disney Plus and feel relatively safe that if my 5-year-old grabbed a hold of the remote and hit anything, that it would be okay. I no longer have that sort of faith. I didn't have that much faith before. I pre-screened virtually everything my kids saw. Now I have less than no faith. Now I have negative faith. And I think a lot of parents feel the same way. We feel slapped in the face. We feel that companies like Disney wish to hijack our children and use our own children against us and turn our children against us.
I only feel it because they just keep saying it. It's just like...
Yeah. I know he's not exactly. It's not a leap of imagination. I love that he went $100 million. He went the full Dr. Evil. They went $100 million in it, and they also made Shapiro go full wobbly head and turn our children against us. He went absolutely mad, and he was quite right. I mean, this is what they're doing, and now it's on. So the war is on, right, Callum? This is the war between the mainstream cultural output now hijacked by wokeness, right, and the sort of out there conservative countercultural just harder to find media
that's trying not to queer kids. Instead, there's treat the kids like kids.
Exactly. And I just think the war's on. I think this is the next escalation in the war. We already knew it was happening, obviously, but this is the next escalation. It's like, and I start thinking about Netflix. They're not doing very well. Their share price plummeted. Look at that, 35% after first quarter subscriber loss. And they've got to a point where they're going to have to incorporate adverts. You probably heard this, only on an ad tier. But people couldn't believe it because Netflix, you don't even watch adverts on Netflix, but they're going to offer a cheaper service where you're going to be forced to watch ads, but you pay less. Let's call the whole thing TV.
There's no point. Right?
I know.
TV you pay for.
Let's have 4 channels again. You know what I mean? And that's where it's going. And obviously Netflix have suffered from the go woke, go broke thing. And there's some evidence that they're kind of backpedaling. They did this thing after Dave Chappelle dared do comedy as a comedian. And then they said, look, if you can't accept this, Netflix may not be the best place for you. Depending on your role, you may need to work on titles you may perceive to be harmful. And if you find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So they recognize the backlash against Chappelle and like, oh, we're losing all our money, our stock price is down. Let's say something vaguely normal. So my point is, you've got Daily Wire versus platforms like Netflix, and they are losing. The mass media are wobbling, And let's face it, Joe Rogan is still the biggest podcast in the world. You've got new media, except for Lotus. You've got new media, and I just think it's interesting that Rogan survived all the attempts to cancel him. And a couple of days ago, he said this on the Lex Friedman podcast about how he coped with that time.
How did you survive that? How did you sort of walk through that fire? Because you seem to do it with grace.
I used mushrooms.
So that's the answer. It's what you expect from Joe Rogan, isn't it? Mushrooms. And there's actually an article where he clarifies it's actually mushrooms and exercise. And he's got a crossbow there. There was probably elk involved. There was probably an orangutan fishing. And he probably took some sort of supplements for your brain power or something. But yeah, classic Rogan. So that's how he does it. But the reason I bring in Rogan is I'm sort of saying it. We've got the Daily Wire and Rogan, things like that, and Peterson now versus Netflix and versus Disney. And if you look at Disney, of course, they've got the money, but they're struggling because their movies suck because they're woke. Look at Lightyear, which has apparently tanked at the box office, which is, oh yeah, Paul, there we go. Oh yeah, the previous one, I was going to say Rogan survived the dirty smear merchants, and I found that on the internet. Were you aware of that?
This is someone said this. This wasn't us. Set up an IMDb page for I'm not apologizing for anything. You dirty smear merchants.
I couldn't believe
8.9
that.
out of 10.
Yeah.
12 reviews.
It's a 1 minute film. If you go, oh yeah, so 2019, 1 minute. I watched that clip again. It is an all-time classic. We've got to shout out to our great leader. That is a great one. And that's how you survive them. Rogan survived them, Carl survived them. You just tell them where to go. Get bent, to quote a great man. So anyway, yes. And anyway, the point is now Disney absolutely suck. Lightyear's failing. Star Wars is failing. I think Star Wars is the best example of this kind of what's happened to the old Star Wars. It's a Jungian archetypes. It's a hero's journey. We can all enjoy it, except women. And we all love it. Women don't really like it that much, but then, and now the new Star Wars are these horrible, now we realize that was all patriarchal white savior complex. Now we've got these new awful woke Star Wars where it's great if you're a woman. It's even better if you're a purple haired woman. The old white man is gone. Hamill, he's out of there. He's rubbish. He just dies.
Let's just kill the character. I mean, have you seen Mark Hamill talk about what happened to him in the show? And he's just like, why would a Jedi give up? Why just constantly? He really hates everything that happened in the script.
Yes, he hated Last Jedi, didn't he? But he had to sort of pretend not to. But he did come out and say he hated it. I should watch that again.
Multiple times.
Yeah. It was absolutely pathetic. I mean, who was that girl? The new Jedi girl. This is her lightsaber. That's what I'm doing
Sue, or
hey, whoever she is. She was the star of that one. She beats Luke Skywalker, one of the best Jedis ever, easily. Just beats him easily in a few seconds. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's less close than like Luke versus Darth Vader. It's like it's over. It's like, yeah, beat you, old white man. Now die. Absolutely pathetic. Anyway, that's why Disney will fail, because they're shoehorning in their awful ideology into everything.
I'm saying it firsthand, so we know that this is not some like guesstimate from the right wingers who think there's a conspiracy to try and put their not so secret gay agenda into the movies. No, the interns and the executives are just saying it.
Yeah, always helpful when they confirm everything. I know, and it's just funny, isn't it? I just think there's something inherently conservative about classic stories. It's like it's individualistic. It's you're overcoming adversity. You gain wisdom and you attain manhood, or sometimes womanhood, but never biromantic asexualhood. Do you know what I mean? It's never that. And there's something conservative about that, and especially things like westerns, where it's no surprise to me that Daily Wire has got this Western with Gina Carano, who was cancelled by Disney, so it's perfect, really, because Westerns are so conservative, they're so satisfying. There's just something really conservative about them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's the archetype of what you want to be, really. Self-sufficient man out in the wilderness, make your own food. I mean, that's why I love playing Red Dead Redemption 2 so much. It's great.
I actually might play it now you've said that. Is it better than 1?
That's a debate, isn't it?
Haven't
Probably
played
yeah.
either.
Probably yeah.
But you get to feel like Clint Eastwood, basically, don't you? And that's it. And he's the ultimate man. And that's it. Whereas this new thing it's horrific. It's not going to work. So they've got that all against them. We've got the sort of story arcs, compelling characters. We've got the truth. They've got a load of money and a load of nonsense.
But now the Daily Wire has a load of money.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting. And I'm pretty much ending in a minute. But what I think Daily Wire are going to do is in their documentaries and so on, of course, they're going to do What is a Woman? They're going to do culture war stuff. But in their fiction stuff, especially in their kids stuff, they're going to make it fun kids stuff. And in their fictional films, like this Western, they're going to actually try and make them just like proper movies. I mean, I looked at the blurb for this. If you scroll down, it's in there somewhere. And it says, though the Western drama is set in the past, modern audiences will connect with the universal themes of strength, courage, and resilience in the face of evil. And I thought, yeah, that is exactly it. That's what you should do. We should, on our side, if you want to call it that, the good side, make just good content and win like that.
Yeah, the ideology will just fit into the content if it's good, because that's essentially what you're striving for. It's just wholesome stuff, which you're going to make anyway, presumably.
There you go. You can see the quote. And the only bit I thought they went a bit far on was they said, Terror on the Prairie is a movie about fighting for survival and against all odds because the American dream is too valued to give up on. It's like, okay, Daily Wire, you showed your hand a bit there. but yeah, so that's kind of my point, is that who's going to win this war of the culture, that's being fought through the entertainment world? We're the rebels win in the end, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. But that's where we're at. And I just think this whole Peterson Daily Wire Plus thing is another stage in that.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this premium hangout, Abraham Lincoln Tyrant, ? From Harry. If you want to follow what else Harry is putting out, you can follow him on Getter at Harry Lotus Eater on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.